Hey guys, and welcome to my channel and welcome to this video. Today we will be painting two minimalistic landscapes, and as you can see I do have small papers that I glued onto MDF board just to make sure they don't warp, and I'm super excited to present to you and try out today brushes from Panart. First one is pointed round brush number 8 and second one is round number 4 brush. As I said, I will be trying out them today, and without further ado, let's get to it. I do have here some colors mixed. Those are colors from my set of watercolors. Some violet, then some red, and a little bit of the black, just to create some violet, deep violet color. And I prepared my paper, but just using a touch of color in my brush because I do want the background for my lower part of the painting from my lavender field to be slightly violet. I don't want it to be completely white. Right now I'm mixing in some blue and green for the clouds, and then adding those clouds. You can see I'm just pushing the brush onto the paper, and then with the belly of my brush and with the tip of my brush painting in the flowers. I must say by now I do like this brush. It can hold a quite amount of the paint, but also has a very pointy tip, and you can do very fine details with it. It doesn't release too much water onto the paper, so it doesn't get messy, but it does release just enough to create those beautiful textures. And you can see the clouds, quite beautiful looking. And while I was doing the sky, it is quite hot in my studio, so the paper dried. I wetted it again, so make sure that when you start doing this your paper is wet, because we do want the bleeds with the colors and don't want the paper to be dry and to have harsh edges. And right now just adding in those lavender field lines, and just make sure that all of those lines go into one point. If it makes it easier for you, make a one vanishing point in the distance, and then just try to point all the lines you do to that point. Again, mixing in a little bit of the violet and red, doing lighter lines, and then just using more and more paint to create darker parts. And I'm not going all the way to the top with that darker. Just as I go darker, I'm painting lower and lower, just finishing with that color a little bit lower. And I do want to create some play with the highlights and shadows, so I'm doing the darkest parts in the lower part of the field nearest to us, and the lightest in the upper part. And then with mix of green and blue, I started painting in the second painting. This time I did not prevent the paper. I've added a couple of lines for the grass, and then added yellow to my mix of colors, and then painting in the rest of the ground. You can see I'm just going in between those colors, adding a little bit also black to create the darkest part, the shadows. And I do want the variety in my fields of the colors, so you can just paint it if you want to make it look like there is some flowers in a more vibrant color in the background. That's also fine. You can use a little bit more vibrant, maybe again some pink, maybe some violet. And now again painting in the sky. I did wet the paper, and this time I'm not doing lines, but I'm just pushing the brush onto the paper to create clouds. Sprinkling some paint. This is first the same color I used for my lavender field, violet, mix of violet, black, and a little bit of red, and then splattering a little bit more saturated paint, same colors, just more saturated paint. And now splattering some white gouache to create some white flowers. And while the paint is still wet and the paper is still wet, I'm painting in some mountains, I guess, in the distance. And this time I've added a little bit of the blue to my brown just to distinguish the colors, and also as you go further in the distance, it does, all the objects seems a little bit more bluish, so I did add some blue. And also for the last layer, I've added a little bit of the black for the lowest part. And now just adding in a couple of stems, going back to my first painting, and you can see I'm just going back and forward with my paintings. While one is drying, I'm painting on the other one and just going back and forward. Again, I'm painting in some mountains, same thing, adding a little bit of the blue to my green. Now again, mixing the same colors. This time I also added a little bit of the black to the mix, more saturated paint for the part nearer to us. And I must say, I do really love this brush. It's a mop brush, but it's quite nice, very, very soft. It can hold a lot of the water, but it has a very, very nice pointed tip. I must say, I really do love it. You can do very, very nice details with it, but also paint a larger surface. And with this round number 4 brush, I'm adding in the details. Now the paint is dry. I do want to add some shadows on the edges, again using the same colors as I did previously, but more saturated. And I will be linking those brushes in the description box. If you want to find out a little bit more about them, read a little bit more about them, you can definitely do that. At the end, I also decided to use this round number 0 brush to do the finest details, the very, very thin lines. I did wanted to try this one also out. This is a professional watercolor brush. And then some splatters, of course, with that dark paint, dark mix of violet, black. A little bit more of the shadows. I also love this brush too. You can do very, 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 very fine details with it. Doing a couple of stems for the second one. You will definitely see me using these brushes more, so you will get to know them, but this is my first trial, and I must say I really do like them by now. It's very easy to control. They are quite easy to control. So a little bit more of the splatters, white, darker violet, I guess, and at the end I decided to add just a touch of the green in between my lines of violet, rows of violet, and then a couple of splatters again with that green at the end. And with that, I'll be finishing off these very simple minimalistic landscapes. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, share it, and comment. And if you haven't still, please do subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. There are over, I guess, 400 tutorials by now. So I'm sure you will definitely find something for yourself. There are videos for beginners and also intermediate painters. So I'm definitely sure you will find something for yourself. And these fun, very, very quick mini landscapes are done. And hope you enjoyed this video. And again, thank you so much for watching. I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!